Good morning, Friday, July 19th, market analysis. Stan Ehrlich. I start out with indexes, and we got some brand new stuff and some maybe major moves starting this week. We also have some brand new signals, and the top formations in silver and platinum are doing great. Here we go. E-mini. New lows to move down. Remember, it got extremely overbought earlier this week, and I kept reiterating that I thought the market was going to top out because of overbought conditions. The amount of, or the height, the level of the RSI reaching around 90, which it did, and then all of a sudden, kaboom. So here we are. We're now back into a minor, maybe medium support level, short term. And I think very soon, not necessarily today, I wouldn't rule it out, but next week early, we're going to be coming down to 5,500. And if that gives way, and I think it's not going to hold, we're going to see the market drop into the 54.10, 5, 54.20 area, which by the time we get down there, I think late next week, we will maybe be oversold also. And if that's true, we'll probably have a decent bounce for the first time since the beginning of this week when the market started to move down. So I am, well, you could say bearish, but only for about 3 months. I'm looking for the October lows to occur again. I hope, fingers crossed. I'll guide you through it as we approach succeed or fail, etc. Last year it worked great. Year before that, it was unbelievable. And the October lows have worked a little over 90% since 1997, over 30 years. Okay, next chart. We're looking at the 5-minute chart on the E-mini. We have just recently, last hour or so, made new lows for the move down. This is a new low for approximately, well, let's just see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 2 weeks. That's significant. And I think we're going to stay down here. So it's a weekly poor close. And you're going to see the same thing from most of the other indexes as well. It's heading south. Spider, basically the Papa, got to say the same thing. The ranges are slightly different because the SPY is only open from 6:30 California time till 1 o'clock, the regular stock market hours in California. And it's making new lows. We had a slightly premature sell signal. My signals are not always at the very top of beginning of moves down that are sometimes small, sometimes multiple years, but they are frequently at the turning points of little, medium, and big moves. All right, next chart, Spider. Nothing surprising here. QQQs. I have to point out that the high on July 11th is a magic date lately. July 11th, things turned around in most cases. Almost had a bearish engulfing ER sell signal only because the QQQs are only open that short period of time, stock market hours, and it failed by 0.24 ticks to make a high higher than the previous day, which was July 10th. If that had happened, we would have a gigantic bearish engulfing just like the NQ, which I'll get to in a moment, which is on top of the market. So we also have a gap in this case. The market gap down. Let's get today in here. Come on. There we go. And has now approached the first support area. Not quite there yet. And I also have to point out RSI is not oversold, but came very close, approximately 27. Wait a minute. Yeah, that's about right. So, got to expect that there's going to be a bounce soon. Okay, that's about the best I can say on the Qs. And there's your 5-minute, nope, 1-minute chart on the QQQs this morning so far. And there's that large gap from Wednesday morning. Now, the NASDAQ, NQ, futures contract, September, did have a bearish engulfing on July 11th, 7/11, and has had a minor rally within a couple of days after the reversal, and we did automatically ER3 get short. Of course, on the day of the signal, always ER1 gets short or long on the day and at the moment that the signal qualifications happen. So this is just a great example of what I can find often with my signals, ERSignals. ERSignals.com, had to do it. That one worked okay, not great. This one lost a little money. Now, they don't always work, but I do have an automatic stop that moves very quickly. This is still a position trade. We are still at the low of the day today, right now, 19,693-ish. And it looks like it's about to make new lows, which is going to be important. Oh, wait, it already got below it. All right, we have new lows now in the NASDAQ for it looks like 1 month. Yep. NASDAQ short-term 5-minute chart, just to show you the details here about these trades that we are still in one of, and that is almost low and last. Right now, the green line represents the beginning of the trade, short sale, and where the market is right now, it's open trade equity coming down. It looks like it's going to make new lows, which means, of course, more profitable for this position. ER3 also has the scalp that made a little money, and both ER1 scalp and ER1 overnight got out on the same day, but they were both very profitable. So all four in this case. We don't see that every time. Next. The Dow futures. Yesterday after my YouTube, and I mentioned it could have happened, and it did happen, provided an ER brand new sell signal, red bearish engulfing in overbought conditions, classic, and is working today very nicely. Yesterday, ER1 scalp managed to make a small profit, and we are short with a stop that's now a little below where we got short. So it is, quote unquote, locking in a small profit. Period. In a day. Nice trade, ongoing. Looks like it's to make new lows, but now this damn thing climbs straight up for a week or maybe a little over, while the other indexes were going sideways or lower. Very rare, unusual series of days where that was happening. You'll see it once or twice now and then, maybe 2 days in a row, but 5, 6, 7, So that was very rare for this market to go up like it did, while the others were mostly fiddling around and going down. Now, because of the new low since yesterday's reversal, we only are challenging Tuesday's lows when Monday was a little lower. So we're not even making a new low for the week. Everybody else is making new lows for weeks, if not a month. A little different story. This is going to find support quicker, faster, and it already did and went right through it today. That's the first minor level of support. Oh, by the way, I have to point out, we got the top of the market on April 1st. We got the bottom of the market for a signal on April 19th. We got the top of the market on May 20th. We got a small losing trade on June 28th. And now I may have caught the top of the market for the third time in the last few months. The high days. Remains to be seen. But this looks exactly like I like it so far. And this is the same chart, 1 minute. Short yesterday at the signal entry. Small day trade profit. Also, ER1 overnight got short at the same moment, tick, etc., and held the trade. Stop is definitely in place. And now below, right here, where we are short. So locking in a profit. And I probably could get away with tightening the stop a little bit so it would slide down a little bit more. But if it gets too close, that's ridiculous. Next chart, Russell got up to a historical resistance level, blew through it, but came into another historical resistance level, which I really didn't block out for you. It's the trading range is in the year 21. Yeah, almost a whole year. So it got overbought like crazy. Again, that 90 thing, and topped out. So we're back into support, but not back to the previous highs for the last year or two yet. So I think it's going to slip off a little bit more. And I wouldn't be surprised if it dropped off a lot more than that because of it having gotten up to 90. So the next significant bottom might be around 2100, 2110. Next chart. Russell short term did make new lows, not coming down too fast. Only a couple of days from the top of the market like the DIA, the Dow, YM. Next, bonds. Starting to pull back. Didn't get a sell signal. Does look like a possible double top at a resistance level I've had in place for many weeks. So this is looking viable. What happens if it is a double top? There's your low between the two highs. And if that is the case, which it is, the minimum downside objective would be something approximately down here. New lows for the whole damn trend? No, doesn't seem likely. So probably back to about 116, 17, right in the area where the last low was on July 1st. That's what I'm looking for. Next, notes. Didn't quite double top out. Didn't quite get overbought. But starting to slip off, making new lows for a few days. Not super weak or anything. Going back to bonds, this is way below yesterday's low and the day before that. And I made a new low for the last 3 days. But again, didn't get overbought. So I just really can't get very bearish on interest rate futures here. And that's the chart, 10-year notes. I'm modestly, slowly, zigzaggingly back and forth bearish for, I think, month, 2. Next, crude, new lows. Support is now starting to crack, not holding very well, but not broken completely. We just pierced it and then popped back up above it again. We're not oversold, so it's got plenty of elbow room. And if we close below at around today's lows or even lower, we're going to probably slip off all the way to 76, 75, 76 again. Next, natural gas. Almost got to my minimum downside objective I talked about since the breakout, even probably a little bit before that, but, late June. And that's looks like 99% of the downside objective. So as far as I'm concerned, for all practical purposes, it did the job, although I still would like to see it actually touch it or lower. So I am trying to justify being bullish. I really can't do that. The only thing I've got is the oversold condition, and the market seems to be a couple of dojis going sideways. Next chart, high heating oil. New lows again, support area, putting a crack in it. But this would be a good place in oversold conditions for it to bounce pretty good. We are still short from almost the high day. On July 5th, we had a bearish engulfing ER sell signal, and it looks like it's the ER1 overnight is still in this position. There's your green trade line. Let me expand this a little bit. Great. And our stop looks like it just got missed a little bit yesterday. Perfect. New lows today. Perfect. Looks like it's going to close a new low ground as well. But the thing that bothers me is oversold and at the bottom of the support. So anytime you could have a bounce, and I'll probably get stopped out at 2.5335-ish, or maybe a little lower. Next. Gold down sharply. Now you're going to be amazed about silver and platinum in a minute. Gold dropped off. We were very overbought again. and up against a bullish resistance line. That's a trend line that slants up. That defines the word bullish or bull trend line. But when prices are trading under that line and are rising up to the line, then it's a resistance line and it trends upwards. Nevertheless, it has actually created the possibility of a triple top. They're very rare. I didn't expect it, but I can't pass this up. It bumped the line almost perfectly, overbought conditions, and now, after today's little bit of a dribble back down, nothing big, wham! We're down pretty darn good. Since Wednesday, we're already making it below Monday's lows. This is a new low for the week on Friday. Oh, yeah, by maybe a couple of ticks or it matches. It's so close, it's ridiculous. So I think it's got a triple top. I can't say anything other than that. I just keep telling you they're very rare. If that's true, then although it might bounce off the support level at 2304, it could go through it like a hot knife through butter, which is not uncommon on breakouts of head and shoulder necklines and so on. Could do the same thing here. We'll see what happens. Here is a very rare combination. I don't remember. It's been years since I've seen a head and shoulder top, large, that started, medium size. It started in April 12th. And what is it, July? Okay, that's 3 months yeah. And that's pretty normal. And the head of the formation is a little double top sort of in itself, no big deal. But the last shoulder that just created itself over the last 2 weeks is all by itself a head and shoulder top formation, which I pointed out starting on Wednesday of this week, which was the day that the market finished a formation. Maybe I even said something about it on the 16th, the day before that. I'm not sure. I could have even made excuses. Yeah, well, I don't know. Sometime early this week. And it did form a shoulder. And the last single day, it also crashed through the neckline right there. Remember, very small pattern, 2 weeks. Broke out. Yesterday's rally high was right back up to the neckline, classic textbook price action, and kaboom. And today we have broken out of the neckline of the larger, big head and shoulder top, which has a downside objective of 24.15. We are 29.3. We're almost making new lows since 2 months ago, which would be not only a close below the neckline, but obviously a show of longer term weakness. So here's a head and shoulder top inside of a head and shoulder top. And its minimum downside objective, which I'd marked off right there a couple of days ago, has already been fulfilled. Not in platinum, but watch this. Platinum. Let's rescale. First shoulder for the big formation 3 months ago. Top of the market, we got a bearish engulfing ERSignal signal on the high day. Obviously, at the time, I had no idea that it was going to end up forming a head and shoulder top formation, which it did. So we have a signal on the top. In retrospect, fantastic. We didn't get anything in the last shoulder, very unfortunately. But this last shoulder, like silver, is also a small head and shoulder top during the same days. Not exactly the same, but the formation is there. There's nothing wrong with it. The neckline was broken yesterday on a closing basis. And today we have follow through, which has caused the breakout of the larger head and shoulder top formation, which has a downside objective of, wow, okay, down to about 808, 809, call it 810. That's a pretty big move. We're at 975 last trade. So today's high could have been a little bit higher to touch the neckline, which is still a possibility. Once you have a breakout, you have some sort of 1, 2, 3, 4 days down, a pretty good follow through. Then a bounce of some sort is very typical, halfway up to the neckline, maybe all the way back up and touch the neckline. That could take a few days, a week or two, and then continue on down to your objective, typically stair-stepping its way down like a normal market. That's exactly what I expect. So keep your eyes out on these two in particular. If I'm right about both, which I hope they're the same, gold probably has pressure, more pressure to come. Copper. Yesterday, new lows down to the bottom of the support area, and today the support area gave way, couldn't hold. So looks like the next significant stopping point is right nestled in here. I don't have quite as much historical data as I would like to usually, so I may want to change that later. Oh, I don't know. Oh, I can see this is happening. All right, there's another one at 4.1245 support. We are oversold, second day, so we may come off a little bit more and have a bounce. Resistance is now not very far up, close. Today's high touches it. Trending down, looking like probably, like I said, 4.0, maybe even lower. Next, grain, then meat, then Bitcoin. Now, soybeans have had a multi-year major long-term downside breakout, and I talked about it before it happened, and it's developing after now 2 weeks on a daily basis, just about what I was expected. Minor problem at the moment. Everything has happened good as I thought so far. We are at a little under, a little over, but a little under, and sticking around the price levels this whole week. Apparently a level that has found it's floating on top of. I may have put it at the too high a price. Maybe it's supposed to be down there. I don't know. I'll leave it there. So, assuming we're finding support and oversold for several days, what can we expect for a bounce? 1104, give or take a few cents, and maybe 1140-ish. And then kaboom again. I don't see any particular reason to start to talk about a long-term major bottom. Next, meal and oil. Now, soybean oil hasn't, it's got stuck between a rock and a hard spot. This marker is marking the last shoulder in a gigantic formation. I don't want to talk about too much. I've talked about it for months now. It's going sideways lately. That's the problem. I really need to close above 49.80 and that'll get me friendly to bullish pretty quick, depending upon how it develops, or a close around 42.5 and lower, another new low to start to completely obliterate the previous long-term bullish formation that I think still has barely a little gas in the tank. Next, daily data on soybean meal, double top, working out okay. New lows this week. Downside objective not too much further, 325-ish. I still think it's going to get there. A little resistance yesterday did seem to turn it down. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Another couple of weeks, maybe a week, and we'll be back. It will be at least to my minimum downside objective, and maybe to the support at 318, a little under. I don't have anything intermediate bullish to say. I still have to look for new lows very soon. And if this market can't hold these support areas, ouch, we will be seeing new lows probably, or at least the major lows for years to be tested next at 308. And if that doesn't hold, and I think there's a chance that could be broken as well, like corn, wheat, and beans, and here comes corn. It did have its major long-term bearish breakout on a classic breakout day, June 28th. Crash. Sideways a few days, oversold, couldn't bounce very much. New lows and a big move down again, and then sideways kind of since then, which has now been about a week and a half, 2 weeks almost. Lows very clustered together on the average. We did have a bullish engulfing signal in the middle of the group here, but unfortunately we made a minor new low the next day, so the signal didn't work per se. We didn't pick this time like that time, the lowest low for a big move. But I keep telling people, although some signals just plain lose a little money, don't work, you're out real quick. Some of these signals develop as part of a bottom or top formation. And unfortunately, I didn't pick the highest high or lowest low day, but I don't have proof of that yet. This does look like it's probably going to make new lows. But if we don't, and we start popping up above 405, then I would expect the rally to start and finish up at 426 and maybe up to 442. But I'm still long-term bearish. I can't get over that. Wheat did it again. All of this is being repeated except for one thing. What do you see today? That is a brand new ER buy signal happening today. All I need to do is maintain a close today above yesterday's close, which is around 435-ish. And we're not 35, we're 45, almost 44. So a 10-cent break or more would ruin the signal. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're, late in the day for wheat and going to close on a strong basis. It'd be nicer if we could close above these previous two highs, yesterday and the day before. But that doesn't kill the fact that we've got a signal. I like it. Now what? I'm modestly friendly to wheat. Don't see any problem stopping cold at that major resistance area, just like we're going to have in beans, just like we're having in corn on the way back up, maybe as low as 566-ish. But I think this is much more likely would be 583, and I can't rule out probably 621 at the highest. But any of those levels, depending upon how it gets there, could stop the rally, and I just can't come up with anything that's long-term bullish. Now, one could think that this could be a long-term shoulder, that green bullish signal in the bottom there. And maybe we're developing the head, but that means you're going to have to wait another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months for the market to go up somewhere in here and then come all the way down 5 months from now to somewhere around these same fronts. That's not going to happen. Forget it. So modestly bullish for the moment. I expect a rally out of wheat, but I'm still intermediate to longer term bearish. Next, cattle. Starting to make minor new lows for the week. No breakouts, not oversold, overbought. 43 is nothing. I'm having a little trouble figuring it out lately. So I'll keep my mouth shut still. Next, hogs. Minor new high again. 64 is not overbought and still leaves lots of elbow room. So I think it can get up to 76, 60 fairly quickly, maybe in the next couple trading days. Then it might be overbought and get into resistance, and that'd be a perfect spot for it to start to turn back down. So that's it. Bitcoin. I started talking about this because my partner and I found a rare, probably never happened before, 6-day island bottom. They're usually 1 or 2 days, rarely 3, and I don't ever remember seeing a 6-day, but that qualifies, which causes island bottoms cause very sharp bull moves very quickly historically. And what the heck, so far so good. And the low of the market was, of course, an ER buy signal on the bottom of this Bitcoin. What is this? BITO. How about the E-mini? Looks like it's getting close. I'll let you go in a moment. It's been making new lows again. Wow. And this is just great. Yep. We're spider. Everything is super close to the low of the wick, or there is no wick. And looks like it has been making new lows in the last, say, 30 minutes a few times. The Dow probably also just a little bit. Yep. So you have a profitable trading day. Have a great weekend. See you on Monday.